official On the Big Stage concert, so I know that there are a few kiddos who are a little nervous, but we're going to make this happen today. There are two other people I'd like to introduce who are on the stage, two big kids on the stage, and they're part of our orchestra leadership class that happens first hour, and their job is to assist with our fifth graders and then to also kind of learn the behind the scenes of how this orchestra works. And so standing up right here is Shelby Sykes. She's going to play violin for us today. Shelby, give them a wave. And then Ezekiel Kinney, who is sitting down back there in the cello section. They're going to help us out this morning. So without further ado, the first tunes we learned how to do after we figured out how to unpack our instruments and get the bow ready and how to hold this thing was the string cycle. And so the string cycle is just a series of open strings, starting with the lowest sounding string in our orchestra. So before we knew how to use our bow, we did what was called pizzicato. We plucked the strings. So I've got one more pizzicato song for you. This was the D-A-D song. Then we jumped in our book. We started to learn our left hand, how to place some fingers on the strings to make some different notes. And we picked up our bow and figured out how to use that. So the next tune we're going to play for you is titled in our book, Rolling Along, but you'll recognize this as Mary Had a Little Lamb. Our next tune is called Good King Wenceslas, otherwise known as Good King What's His Name, Good King Applesauce, whatever you happen to call it that day. And in Good King Wenceslas, we added what was called a tunnel hand position for all of our players, where we have our fingers pressed on one string, but we play on the other string. So getting our tunnel and getting our pinky finger for our violin and our viola players for Good King Wenceslas. Our next tune is called Seminole Chant. And in Seminole Chant, the skill we worked on was skipping over fingers to get from one note to the next. It's specifically from a G to an E. So this is Seminole Chant. our viola players, and was a 2-line song, so a little bit longer, so you needed a little bit more endurance for a light viola. We then turned the page and got to some new skills. And the new skill we worked on this next tune, Caribbean Island, is learning the difference on the staff between high D and low D. So that location, that reading location of where do I find that on my instrument. So Caribbean Island with high Ds and low Ds. We turned a couple more pages in our book and found the next tune, Dreidel. Dreidel, 3-line song, so we're getting a little bit longer in our playing. It has skips, it has rests, so a little bit of everything thrown into Dreidel. The next couple exercises in our book are just that. In our method book that we use, they haven't introduced using the bow yet at this point, and we kind of think, well, that's a little goofy, we should just play with the bow. So sometimes at this point, students are now just getting out their bow for the first time, and they need something called rosin on there to make the bow sticky, to make the hairs pull the string and produce the sound. So these next 3 exercises are called rosin wrap, and the intention is to get some rosin on that bow, but since we've already done that, we're going to do that without the rosin today. So rosin wrap number 1 makes us all go in the same direction, down bow and up bow, and follow those symbols. Our rosin wrap number 2, kind of the same situation. We're trying to get everybody to move their bow in the same direction, down and up. And rosin wrap number 3. Continuing on the same page, we have Old MacDonald Had a Farm. The skill in this we've worked on a lot is reading the note G, because there's plenty of them in this. At this point, we get to jump ahead a few pages because now they've introduced some open strings that we already know how to play. So we're going to work next on a skill called the bow lift, which means students have to then pull one direction, lift their bow up off the string, and put it down again for the next note. And the tune that we do this in is called Tribal Lament. thinks, oh, is that, oh, did I forget that one? My goodness, D major scale. On the next page, number 64. My fault. This is what happens when you do your notes late at night. So in the D major scale, we've got all of the notes we now know how to play on our instrument. And we're gonna do them twice, except for the last one, where we play only one on that last D. Three different speeds. So we're starting to learn a little bit of terminology as far as tempo goes. So hot cross buns, first andante tempo, slow. The next speed, moderato, a medium speed. And then the speed that everyone loves to play, fast, allegro. And the students turn a couple more pages and make their way to Ode to Joy. We've had a chance with this group to add a few extra things that we haven't had to do or been able to do the last couple of years with 5th grade orchestra. And so we are going to add in a couple holiday tunes here. So first, Jolly Old St. Nicholas. then we have to end on a couple fun ones. So of course, you know, pop culture right now. We have a big movie that opened up, I think it was last night, right? Yeah, last night. So the kids wanted to learn a few tunes related to that. So we've got Darth Vader's theme, followed by Star Wars. For being here this morning. Thanks so much for sending your kids to us to teach. We're really impressed with this group of students, and so we are so thankful that you're willing to have them in our program. We are going to start back in January, first day on Monday, back to our regular schedule. If you are interested in taking pictures, now would be a great time to come on up and do that. And if you're interested in